We are live with the Z-Axis podcast, the FPS-Z podcast, and we are here on the Play Midair stream during the 48 hours of Midair, all weekend long here on this channel. We are talking about Midair, the game. We've got the developers, we've got some of the testers, we've got some of the greats of FPS-Z in the building with us today, and just a fun show, I think, for the next 2 hours. A lot to talk about, and we're going to try to get to it all here. I'm Winners with the One, and I'm a tribes person from way back, and even shortly. So we've got, let's run down the list and tell you who all is here. I guess we should start with Bug Spray. Hello, Bug Spray.
Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm the CEO of Archetype Studios and the project lead on Midair.
Keeping it simple, right?
Yeah. I guess my experience. Played a lot of Tribes 1. I started in '98 there. I think I might have been like 11 years old or something. Then jumped into Tribes 2. Played a little bit of Tribes Vengeance. Went to Legions. At the time, it was called Fallen Empire Legions. And then ended up taking over the community project that was bringing that away from the instant action platform we call Legions Overdrive. We supported it for a few years and then started making Midair.
And of course we have Mabel, who is, I believe you're the lead coder. Is that your title on Midair, man?
I'm designer and engine programmer,
Awesome.
Well, you also played a lot of Tribes Vengeance, right? Or sorry, Tribes Ascend.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Is there a difference?
So, I don't know. I played Legions a bunch. Then I made that game run on not instant action. And then I won a bunch at TA. And now I'm making Midair.
Oh yeah, you guys were the NASL champions, yeah.
The 100% legitimate national champions. You have two of them in this room.
Yes, I was on one of the top 16 teams in North America, according to NASL. We brag about that a lot. I mean, my mom always said, if you're going to do anything in life, at least try to come in 16th. So we have Stealth RG. He's here. Hello, Stealth RG.
Hey, how's it going? Partly
Dude.
design, all around, good time. That's me.
Awesome. And Boss Dog is in the building. Hello, Boss Dog.
Hello. Oh, I'm supposed to talk about myself now?
Sure, talk about yourself, man.
I'm
It's your birthday.
mainly from Aerial Assault. They got me for that. But I played Tribes 1 mostly, but I've dabbled in all of the Tribes games except for Legion. And yeah, I'm one of the testers in this game.
Cool. Glad to have you with us today. Dark Lord.
Hey,
Hello,
I'm DL.
Just DL for short? Okay.
Yes, definitely. Let's not talk about it. No, I've been like Bugs, probably playing T1 since I was 11 or 12. Played T2 and specifically a lot of T2 Siege for years and years. Played Catch 22 or with them for Tribes Vengeance. Played a lot of Legions. TA was the only one I actually skipped. And now we're testing this.
Cool. Glad to have you with us. Lots to talk about today. We've got Fire. You've heard Fire before if you've caught any of the Z-Axis podcasts before. He is certainly no stranger to this genre. How are you today, man?
I'm doing good. So I started in Legions. I played a lot of TA, won Nassau. We kicked Proj's butt, won a bunch of money, and now I'm playing Midair.
And here we are. And Japes is here. Hello, Japes.
Yo, I'm Japes. You know,
JP,
the brand
okay.
For the
Whichever do you
character limit in
prefer.
TA. But yeah, I was a Kappa in TA, played with Team Flamboyant, and won quite a lot after everyone else quit. So that was
It's a
pretty
classic.
good experience. And I've been testing Midair for a few months.
Oh, yeah. I remember Flamboyant, a legendary European team. And we've got Proj
Definitely
here.
a blend, so.
Yeah.
Hey.
Speaking of legendary, here's Proj.
Yeah. Hi. I started playing Tribes in Tribes 1 in '99. Started competing in 2001. off and on until about 2009, 2010 in Tribes 2, and then I did not win the NASL for TA. I was a glorious runner-up. Very disappointing. But yeah, so I have some experience, and I've dabbled competitively in other games, and now I'm testing for Midair.
And last but certainly not least, we have Qualm in the building. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Apparently very
I'm doing
little.
pretty
Oh, there he is.
Okay. So as for my experience, I've played TA. I've gone through the gambit with all the Tribes games, but I started with TA. I can do. I'm okay with that. I think I might be the only one here not associated with Midair. I'm not in testing. I'm not help making the game or anything. I'm just here to hang out. Hopefully there's some good memes, or else I'm out. So yeah, that's me.
Oh, nothing but the dankest of memes for the next 2 hours. We can guarantee that for our millions of viewers.
I will hold you to that, Winters.
You know it, fam. I guess the first thing we should talk about is the Kickstarter, which kicked off a couple of days ago and has been a very good success so far. They're almost at 50% on this thing. I think they're about $600 short right now, so pushing for that
So let's
halfway
make that
point.
up.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's make this happen.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. At the
cut
risk of making it sound like a PBS pledge drive or something. Yes.
It's like I'm listening to NPR right now, dude.
I'm working the phones.
No, if it's just NPR, it'd be going during rush hour. So like you get off of work and now you have to listen to their 30-minute pledge drive thing when you want to hear about Donald Trump. It's terrible.
That's all I wanted.
It's viewers like you that make this kind of programming possible. If you want more documentaries like this, if you want more documentaries like Ken Burns Presents the History of Tribes, hit that donate button right now. And yeah, I'm very pleased with how it's going. I'm sure you guys are too. Bugs, you want to talk about it a little bit? I mean, obviously there's a lot of preparation that goes into setting up a Kickstarter such as what you guys are doing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's been a madhouse. I mean, we've been planning for Kickstarter for probably 5 or 6 months now, like directly, like thinking about things like backer tiers and what kind of rewards we'd offer, how much money we wanted. Now, of course, at the beginning, it's a bit more theoretical. We start kind of, drawing a few lines in the sand and saying, okay, well, we have to hit this much at minimum because we know that we need this much to complete the game. But things like which features are in, which are out, what things we put as stretch goals, those things, honestly, were in flux up until the final release of the Kickstarter. Excuse me. But yeah, it's been, we've been doing a lot of prep. I know we've spent probably 2 to 3 months directly on the backer tiers specifically, and it sounds like we've got a lot of good stuff that people are enjoying in there, which is super exciting. A lot of Kickstarters start up and fail because the backer tiers are not adjusted correctly, but we've seen a lot of adoption of our backer tiers across the board. So it sounds like everyone's getting a little something that they are looking for there. But as far as actual development of the game, for the last 6 months for sure, we've been prioritizing and doing, putting our tasks in order to get to Midair. We had to get to the Kickstarter. We had a brief moment where we were pushing towards a greenlight trailer, which if you followed our Steam greenlight campaign, you know that we were greenlit in about 6 days, which was awesome. So thank you everybody if you were involved in that. But we had kind of a brief moment where we were pushing a build to get ready for that trailer, and then after that we switched gears and went straight for Kickstarter. So it's been a lot of time coming, a lot of prep. We're talking 22 people for I think we're coming up on 2 years soon. What you see on stream is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of time, effort, a lot of resources, and even some of our own money being thrown into the mix. We're super excited that we finally made it to Kickstarter, and we're looking forward to the next 1.5 years of development after we, complete our goal, maybe hit a few of those stretch goals, and get to build something that's going to be awesome for everyone to jump in and play.
So the plan is to have a released game in about 1.5 years, approximately 18 months after the Kickstarter is done. When can people start getting in? Obviously, there are backer goals, or like if you donate a certain amount, you get in at a certain time. I saw the early bird stuff is already pretty much gone at the lower levels.
Yeah, absolutely. So the lowest amount of money you can get with a little bit of access is $10, and you'll get early access open beta. Now, what that means is that basically, one and a half years from the end of the Kickstarter, we're going to be releasing the thing. So it's 18 months. If you get early access to the open beta, the open beta is 2 months before then, so 16 months after Kickstarter, but 2 months before release. The early access open beta is 15 months, so you get an extra month worth of time in there if you're backing at $10. Now, if you want to be in a closed beta, it is kind of a long time. So, like, I would highly recommend going up to at least the $30 tier if you're really interested in access, which is the closed beta. So the closed beta starts 12 months after Kickstarter, or 6 months before the full release of the game. So you get a good amount of time to be playing the game. A lot of good access to developers, get your feedback in. Now, if you're more passionate than that, and you want alpha access, which is right in the midpoint, which is basically 9 months from the end of Kickstarter, so starting in June, 9 months from then, and 9 months before the full release of the game, you need to pledge at the $70 level, which if you're in if you're in the early bird backer tier, or $75 if you miss the early bird, to get into that tier. Now, if you're really excited about the game and want to play right now, like the things that you've seen on stream right now are compelling enough for you to jump in, or you want to affect the game early on, give a lot of good feedback to the devs, then you can spend $175, get a lot of great rewards, but also get instant access to the game. So when our Kickstarter campaign ends in the beginning of June, might be about a week lead time for us to get our ducks in a row, get all the keys ready to go and sent out, get the servers ramped up. But you're going to be getting in there, basically instantaneously compared to the rest of the tiers. So those are the different ways that you can get access to the game as early as possible.
Okay, awesome. And one thing I did like about it, because I've been watching all the different threads in the different places about the reaction, and there's a few people that are kind of leery of free to play because of their experiences in the past, and justifiably so, anybody that keeps up with gaming. But one thing that I did like about this is that you can go ahead and pay, what is it, $20 right now, and you get everything unlocked. It's like buying the game you can skip all the progression, and you don't have to grind or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that we thought long and hard about. Like, we spent probably half a year to a year thinking about just the monetization model we wanted to do with it. And we decided that we wanted kind of a hybrid model than what you might see out there for most games. A lot of games come out and say, hey, we're going to do free to play. And if you look at games like League of Legends, right, they are monetizing every new champion that comes out because you can either unlock it through, getting enough experience to the game, or you end up, just paying the money if you don't have the time to unlock it through that way. Tribes Ascend did this for a while when they came out. So, and these are actually the two examples we use in a blog post, which you should totally go read on the playmidair.com website, that outlines this kind of stuff in detail. But Tribes Ascend, when they released a new weapon, it cost some amount of experience, and they also allowed you to purchase it with gold. Now that's a distinct departure from our model, which is if you want to play free to play, don't want to pay any money for it. There's no other way to get it except for just leveling up. You either have to pay to unlock what we call a progression pass, which unlocks all gameplay forever, or you just unlock it through normal ways. But every time we come out with a new weapon, you don't have to pay some marginal increase in money to get it. If you've unlocked all the gameplay through the progression pass, and you unlock it forever. If you do it otherwise, you just have to play a little bit more. But you won't have to buy XP boosts. You won't have to buy gold or any other currency, or buy the weapons straight up. So that is a differentiating factor for our game in terms of free to play, which is an important one to think about, right? Like, other games monetize the release of new gameplay content. We are not doing that with Midair. So yeah, as you mentioned, on Kickstarter it's $20. So keep in mind that when this hits full release, this will be $30. So if you want to get in early, you can get into the early access open beta, and you can get the progression pass for as low as $20. So it's a $10 discount. Plus you get a bunch of other Kickstarter goodies. So like you get things like recognition for what you've done, like backer badges. I think you get the digital soundtrack, a couple other things. So it's a pretty good value if you are interested in kind of quote unquote buying the game and getting access to those extra Kickstarter things for a discount. So that is.
Yeah, I have to agree. By Grabthar's hammer, what a savings. But yeah, definitely back this thing if you're into this sort of game, because I think I fired the game up last night, and I want to bring Mabel in now because I did get to ski around a little bit, and man, I really like the movement in it. I think you guys kind of nailed the feel. It's because I keep seeing people say, well, is it more like Tribes 1? Is it more like Tribes 2? Is it more like Legions? And it seems to kind of be a middle ground. It seems to be its own sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the idea behind a lot of the elements of the game is to sort of pick and choose what we like the most out of all the different games and sort of find a coherent way to mix them all. And yeah, I mean I think people are just sort of used to asking these questions, but it's, I think we found a really comfortable, a pretty comfortable compromise between all the different kinds of game, and I really do like where the game's at now. There's definitely some stuff we need to work on, still physics-wise, but
Well, we're still pretty early on in the process.
There's plenty of time, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand that you guys are kind of looking at, I mean, right now it's basic sort of LT play, which is big with the competitive scene, and so a lot of what the comp scene wants is already, short of some polish and stuff there. But I know you guys are talking about putting more of an emphasis on things like base play and vehicles and those sorts of things.
Chris?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like base and vehicles are something that we do want to focus on. Now, obviously, we've spent a bunch of time doing the core gameplay because it's really like that is at the core of everything, right? It's if we don't get that right, then like what we're saying is the core weapon and physics and like networking feel is just wrong, right? So that's why what you're seeing like is very kind of focused on like a few weapons. Like you don't see a whole lot of weapons. We want to have over 10 weapons in the final release product, but we have a subset of those now. We've got just a couple armor types. We've got light, we've got heavy. We're spending our time going one by one, balancing each to make sure it's appropriate. But with that said, our vision is absolutely something that is more expansive, will be more interesting to people who played with vehicles, with turrets, base assets, assault and defensive bases. And we got some really neat ideas. A lot we'll have to prototype. Maybe we can talk about a few of those as the Kickstarter campaign goes on. But like, I'm super excited. Like I personally liked playing some of the light version of Tribes, which is like 5v5s or 7v7s, where you limit armor sets and weapon sets. But there's also a soft spot in my heart for like larger team-based games. I don't know if many people know this, but there was a mod in Tribes 2 that I contributed to for a long time, which is called Great Tribal War. And that was something where it was really intended to be played with like 64v64, and it had huge maps, and you go and set up a base in the middle of nowhere, and like it was super fun. And so like there's a soft spot in my heart for games like that, and we're gonna make sure we have something not necessarily Great Tribal War style, but at least larger team sizes. Vehicles are super useful and maybe even necessary, and a lot of good interaction between offense and defense in the bases.
Well, yeah, I want to bring in some of the folks that have actually been playing this thing, some of the tester guys. So what do you think? I mean, you guys are veterans of Tribes-like games. Where do you think this fits in the milieu of FPS-Z and Tribes-type games?
That's a good one for Proj, yeah.
That is a good one for Proj.
Specifically, are you talking about like feel and stuff, or what are you referencing?
I think just the base gameplay where it fits and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, the base gameplay?
Where it's gonna go.
Oh, I mean, it's coming along nicely. Yeah, it's got all the core stuff is I'm glad that they focused on that, because if you start adding in all the content stuff before you have the core stuff, first of all, the big thing is you often have to redesign the maps, which is like a huge time sink. You got to rebalance everything. So the fact that they focus on the core is like really, really important, and they are introducing the pieces. In fact, we just got the repair pack in like this week. No, but it works.
It's been there the whole time.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. It has been there the whole time. But yeah, no, it's coming along. The base stuff is I think every time there's a patch release, the base play improves, and people are getting a little more the hang of how that flows. And I think I don't see any fundamental reasons why it shouldn't be like really good as they polish and add new content in at this point. That's I think that's about the gist of it.
Exciting stuff.
Cool. Fire, I know you're a chasing guy. That's kind of your forte. Do you think this is scratching the itch for that?
This game? Oh yeah, no, the disc jumps and stuff like that, ring jumps, they're nice and strong. There's a lot of chasing. The chain, you could chain people down like crazy. I had a nice midair chase actually yesterday. The first chase I did yesterday on ice dance, I midaired Meller, I think it was, who had her flag, which is nice. So I mean, the chasing's here. It's not TA. You don't need the rage pack. You do need to like start chasing early on some maps. Other maps, like the LT maps, you don't need to. You could pretty much start after they grab and they're out, and you'll have enough time to cut them off and get a return. Sometimes they'll make it So it's in a good spot right now, especially in LT. I love it in LT.
Yeah, man. It seems like you can get up to speed fairly quickly.
Yeah, definitely. The you don't need to do the front loading where you disc jump a few times in TA and then you regen all of your health. And you do it again to get some more speed. There's none of that. There's no regen. All you need is like one disc jump, and you can typically catch up to cappers if you're in position.
Right on. And I know that quite a few of you guys played in the games last night, and there'll be games tonight too. Guitar Guy and I will be casting those later this evening. So for who all in here is in that as far as on those teams?
Everyone.
Boss Dog?
I think everyone. Everyone that can make it. That is. I'm not sure if everyone can make it tonight. It is
I played
Saturday
last
night.
night, but I can't make it tonight. But the games last night were really good. They just posted a YouTube of the games. If people really want to get a feel for the game, we should probably watch the map Midair yesterday. That was insane. There's tons of great shots on that one, and you can see how fast. You can see how fast the gameplay is. That map plays really well in LT right now. Like that's a great example because there's a lot of people from LT that would want to play, and that's where I'm mainly from. And like so far, Midair already plays perfectly in LT, which is great. That's a great sign for the game because if it works in that, then it's probably going to work in base really well once they get everything down.
That seems to be their motto. If it works in LT, then you can just add some more stuff and you got base there.
You just have to learn how to balance things. But I mean, the core gameplay is the most important part of it because some other Tribes games didn't feel right from the get-go, but this one feels right already, which is great, especially in this early development.
Yeah, I think the feel is the first thing you really have to get on this stuff, and then once you've got that, because that's such a nebulous thing, you can't really, what is feel? So, and it's hard to tell sometimes just from watching videos. So, but yeah, just after skiing around a little bit, yeah, I could definitely tell that I just liked the movement of the game.
Winners. Can I ask you, does the game feel floaty to you? I think we need to nip this one in the bud because that's the most consistent comment. Is like the game, maybe it's too floaty. And
Not on this game.
Well, you have a jetpack.
FPS-Z.
Ostensibly, that means that you are floating, so floaty should be a good thing. Yeah, man, it's funny you mentioned that. We had the same thing. We've seen some of the comments on our game, #Wrecked. It's like, well, it's super floaty. It's like, well, what is float? Yes, you have a anti-gravity belt. Yeah, it's you're going to be floating around a little bit, but yeah, it seems like one of those buzzwordy things, like a tick rate. We'll be asking Mabel about tick rate here before the day is over, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. You're going very fast. You have a jetpack. You're in the air. Hopefully you are floating. Yes, I mean that's part of classic Tribes gameplay, I think.
I can interpret it in like two ways. Maybe it's either the gravity in the game, or it's like how much jet fuel you have, and maybe wants to answer like how is it compared to other games in terms of gravity or in jet fuel.
It's pretty normal. It's pretty comparable to the other games, probably. I don't specifically about jets. You're asking about like how high you can jet is not always super useful because jetting straight up is not particularly useful. Jetting up into the stratosphere can get you really high. It can do very little else.
Sometimes it can do stuff, but
that's true. But like most gameplay doesn't really accomplish that much. So it's the gravity's pretty normal. It's and so I don't know. I feel like we have a huge issue with that.
I don't feel any difference between this and Tribes 1, whereas Tribes 2 I think has a little more gravity and less jets, it feels like, or maybe the same amount of jets and more gravity.
Yeah,
that's my feel on it.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know. We do get that from a lot of T1 players, but T1 has a pretty different visuals because of how old it is.
Yeah, what you're seeing actually affects how fast you think you're going, how high you think you're going, and stuff like that.
Actually, it usually affects your perception of speed.
Yeah, in Tribes 1, actually, when you go super high and the ground starts disappearing for you, that actually, I feel like I'm higher in Tribes 1 at this times, maybe. Because I'm like in the clouds, basically. That's what it feels like in Tribes 1 sometimes. But yeah, you could see a lot more of the map, and that might make it feel like you're going even higher than you are there, too.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, it's hard to quantify with numbers. And so I'm told that the Reflex devs got around this by just making it play a really loud noise whenever you hit the ground, like...
So, that robot, that clunky robot. Yeah. I like that a lot. That's kind of cool. Wait, were they saying that Reflex was floaty? Like, isn't it more or less copy-pasted from CPMA?
It's CPMA,
with some very minor changes, right? And I don't think most people consider that floaty. Yeah.
I think they changed the circle stream thing to make it easier.
I think it might.
Well, regardless, I don't know. We're getting off topic, I think, a little here.
Sorry.
But I think generally, yeah, the floaty feel. I mean, it is a game with jetpacks. I think if you're used to the Tribes games, it's comp fire and stuff. It doesn't feel like you're just hanging there waiting to get shot. Which I think is important to that too.
That's definitely the biggest departure.
Full movement, which I think is important. So even if you're at the apex of your jets, you can still dodge fire and stuff. It doesn't feel like you're just hanging there waiting to get shot. Which I think is important to that too.
That's definitely the biggest departure. Is the amount of control you have over your movement. Is not really. It's much more than probably any other game that isn't Legion.
Well, the lateral movement is greater than Legion's too. It's got the best lateral movement. Legion's has the most like vertical because it looks like yo-yos fighting each other in Legion's.
It does.
Most acceleration.
And it's cool because it does two things simultaneously. The extra control makes skiing like easier well, I mean, we'll have to see this as people come in that are less experienced, but I would imagine it makes it easier to correct yourself as you're skiing, so you can land where you want to land, and simultaneously it gives you a lot of control in combat. It means you movement is a little more emphasized in this game, and you can really take advantage of that to dodge fire, especially like chain gun fire and sniper fire.
Okay, cool, because I know some people have asked about like carving and air control and things like that.
Well, Mabel would be the best to answer those kind of things.
There's
I can tell you based on a field too. So like Tribes 2, when you start going fast, or you're on rails, you don't have a lot of movement. That's not the same as this game. In fact, this game you have more than Tribes 1. You have a little more lateral control. You have a little more movement. Not much, but just a little bit. And compared to Legions, it doesn't feel like you have as much. But I mean, Legions is ridiculous. You can compare it to that game. It's, as people say, it's like the Bumblebee simulator. So.
Well, we are taking questions from the chat, and also we've got some. I'm presuming these are coming from Twitter. Okay. Once more into the fray asks, I was a T1 Comp Arena player. Any thoughts on Arena in Midair?
Arena in Midair? Well, I guess base gameplay, when you have big bases and stuff like that, it gets to be like that, doesn't it?
Isn't Arena one of the listed game types?
Oh, yeah. We're talking about that Arena. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
What Arena is
What
that?
did you...
About the other
classic
Arena.
fire. This is classic fire.
Classic. But yeah, you guys want to talk about Arena?
Yeah, so Arena is one of the game types that we have on the list. I played a ton of Arena in Tribes 2, was decently well known, at least in that world, along with like kind of the dual world for base. And like I'm super stoked to play Arena in this game because you get a little extra control that you didn't have in say like Tribes 1 or Tribes 2 with a lot of the way that the physics work here. At least from my perspective. The testers might have other opinions on that, but I don't know if you paid attention to our coding stream or not. It was yesterday, but Void Spawn was actually creating a level and populating it with assets for use in Arena, and then the code stream with Michael, actually, he was starting to build some of the features for Arena. So you should definitely go back and check that out. Learn more about Arena there. If you played Arena in Tribes 1 and Tribes 2, it's likely going to be something familiar to you. So yeah, I'm personally looking forward to it. I'm probably going to play a lot of it because I like the format of it. It's really easy to get into and play, and it's pretty intense. So that's my perspective on it. Mabel, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on it.
No, that's pretty good.
Okay, Promethium22 asks, are there philosophical differences in the team? Because, yeah, that's a good question, because Tribes and FPS-Z, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Just ask. I mean, you know, there are still kind of holy wars between whether Tribes 1 and Tribes 2, you know, were better, or whether Aerial Assault and Vengeance, I don't know. But, are there philosophical differences in the team as far as how all this plays out?
Before we start talking about that, could we actually find a person that says Tribes Aerial Assault is better than anything? Because I want to meet this person. I want to know their world.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, I saw someone post on a forum somewhere. It might have even been Reddit, where he was like, "I can't believe everyone's giving flack to Tribes Aerial Assault. Like it was the best game, and like I played it a ton." And I was like, "With who? Like, who'd you play it with?"
Oh no!
I mean, could answer that.
It was a neat game.
Aerial Assault, right?
It was sort of a neat.
It's a great game.
It was sort of a neat attempt at like bringing Tribes to consoles, but I think it was rushed out the door and needed a lot more polish.
I don't think you can really make a game like Tribes on console without gutting what it is to begin with.
Man.
It's like when they try to port Unreal Tournament and Quake to console. I mean, you can technically do it, but it just loses everything that makes those games like interesting. That's why, I mean, you got your Halos and stuff, which slow it down and emphasize different skill sets.
That's about the best you're gonna do, probably.
But to sort of get back to the question on like you know, are there philosophical differences on the team? I'd say yes, and sort of by design. Like a lot of the people on the team have different experiences from different Tribes games. Like Mabel primarily played like Legions and Tribes Ascend, although was fairly knowledgeable on the previous games. Like I played Tribes 1 through Ascend. Davey on our team has extensive experience in Tribes 1 and Tribes 2, and also Legions. I think Simon on our team, I think he was primarily Tribes 1, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, so like we've got like a good, I mean, it's almost like a mirror image of our testers. Like we brought in a bunch of testers from different games to make sure we were getting varied viewpoints, taking the best out of these games and bringing it into Midair. And it's the same with the dev team, right? Like that's what we're trying to do is create a game that really is the best of all worlds and you know tries to push this genre into the future. So.
Cool, man. Well, Havoc is among us today, and he's asking, are we going to be able to VChat animate dance? Mabel, will you be able to?
Me?
Yeah. Could I press a button in the VGS and people can watch me whip and watch me nay?
We are definitely. So, like, clearly, cosmetics animations are a great cosmetic sort of option. So we're I guess we're gonna be looking at that. I don't know if I can make any promises. I don't know if Chris wants me to make any promises or he'll get mad.
I mean, I can tell you we're going to think about it. We're going to look at it. Like it's on at least my personal list because I like that kind of stuff. It
Top of the list.
Yeah, it is the number one development priority right after this stream. Actually, we're gonna go build it right now. I'm kidding, but no, I like it. I like those things from T1 and T2. And I don't know if you guys will be able to make your scripts that auto taunt people when you kill them, or play the animation 500 times in a second or whatever.
Hopefully.
But yeah, I guess that really that just brings, makes the game pop, when some guy's twitching 100 times. But anyway, yeah, no,
Okay, so
we're definitely
definite
thinking
maybe
about it. Yeah.
on the question. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Sid is asking, are you guys going to continue crowdfunding post Kickstarter like some other projects have done? Will you still take donations from people, I suppose?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had a couple people reach out and say, hey, I really want to back. It's kind of a rough month for me, but I really want to help out and participate next month. Or, hey, I'd love to back, but I don't have a credit card. I've got PayPal or other things. So the answer is yes, we're going to find ways that you guys can help support the game and get cool stuff. You may not necessarily get everything that you've seen in Kickstarter, but we'll try and put together some things that make it worth your while.
You guys considering Backer Kit?
I've actually never heard of Backer Kit. What is that?
It's like an extension for Kickstarter. Like if you have merch or something, like let's say someone wants to get 2 shirts, right? You can add that through this third-party system. It's all integrated through Kickstarter's API and all. Check it out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you for that. We'll go take a look at it.
Okay, Obvious Cough has a game engine question. What API are you focusing on? Because UE4 supports a lot of API, and he is curious, as are we all who work with UE4.
There are a lot of APIs. I don't know what exactly you're talking about. Presumably, I'm going to assume that you're asking about what graphics backend that we use. Unreal 4 uses, I think by default right now it uses DX11 on Vista and up. So DX11 where available on Windows, and OpenGL on XP, although I don't feel that we're targeting 32-bit platforms right now.
Okay.
The DX12 performance is always improving, and the guys over at Microsoft actually regularly commits changes to the UE4 DX11 renderer, or sorry, the UE4 DX12 renderer. So if we just keep up to date with that, which we have so far been doing a job of, then we should see some nice improvements in that by the time of release. I'm not sure what the status on defaults when available will be then, but it's in the cards.
Okay, is optimization an important thing? Because I know for every one person that has some badass computer, there's 10 people that are running on potatoes, and I know that. Yeah. Well, a lot of people. Yeah. And so I know that UE4 kind of leaves a lot of room for that. Is that something you guys are going to be looking at probably towards the end of the cycle before release?
Yeah, I mean you have to keep an eye on it all the way through. You can't just do really silly things the whole production, because you just end up with too much content that you have to fix at the end, and it's just way too much work to actually be done feasibly. But we're always keeping an eye on it. It's not as good as we'd like it to be, to be totally honest. But it's early days, so.
Sure. EC Lee wants to know if there's going to be a competitive ladder type system within the game, or will there just be external ladder sites like the return of TWL to do all this stuff?
TWL 3.0.
Yes, yeah, 2.0 went so well.
So I'm going to give you guys a second fun fact for the night. First one was I was one of the devs on Great Tribal War. Second fun fact, I was also a Team Warfare League admin for a period of time. For both, I think it was classic CTF 7s, maybe even 14s for a while, or 10s or something like that. And then I think I was on Duel and Arena for a while. But
back when there were a bunch of teams.
There were probably thousands and thousands of teams on there at that time when I was an admin. But yeah, no, I think our strategy right now is, if the game picks up and gets super high adoption and there's a ton of demand for it, then we're going to clearly have to think about implementing maybe some in-game stuff. Right now, I mean, we're an indie team. We've got to figure out where to spend our resources, and there are a bunch of great members in our community who are totally into building systems like this, like through websites and things like that. And so I think what we're going to do is allow the kind of esports scene, the competitive scene, to evolve kind of organically. And allow like these kind of people to get really involved, to become a part of like what Midair is on a release, and so like I said, unless we end up raising $10 million or something like that, we'll probably end up kind of allowing the community to take over in that regard. And with that said, if you take a look at our stretch goals, we do have some interesting things that we want to use to support the competitive scene, and one in particular is the pickup game matchmaking system. Let me double check on which tier that's at, but we can talk a little bit about this, at least kind of where our thoughts are at right now on this. So the pickup game matchmaking system is at the $275,000 tier, and when we hit that, we basically want to build this system that allows you to jump into a matchmaking system specifically for pickup games. It's a bit more serious. It allows you to do this kind of captain and position stuff, and get into a game where it's not just a bunch of public players running around having fun, right? And one of the ways we were talking about doing it is not necessarily making a ranked ladder for that, but allowing your stats and your individual stats to be separate for pickup games than for public games, and so you can use that to kind of make it a bit more competitive. Now all this might change by the time we release, in terms of like how stats are done or if we have a ladder or not, but that's sort of where our head is at there. Mabel, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good description. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Cool. That's something you guys should like totally try and strive for if you're into that kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah, because I do want to see that kind of thing, because I played Legions for years, playing only pickup games. I think DL was there.
Yep.
I mean, raise your hand if you love the pickup game organizing experience.
They can't see
boy.
hands.
Oh no.
Dude.
The eternal
guys, check
struggle
this
for
out, then.
captains.
275k. Is that the mark?
Yeah.
That is the mark. Yep.
Let's make that happen, because I want it really bad, guys.
Okay, yeah, under $500 now needed to hit the 50% mark. So if we can work that milestone while we're on the air here. It worked.
Oh wow,
okay.
We actually just hit 50.
Okay, there you go.
We did it, Reddit.
So
Wow,
we did it,
it's on the
Reddit.
dot.
Yes, the power of the Z-Axis podcast in action. Thanks to everybody who.
It's a little
is
too even for
supporting
me,
us.
guys. Why don't you donate a little more?
That was
Break that,
Tyler
break
Market.
that.
I think he just upped the exact value.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Well, thank you, Tyler Market, for upping your pledge. That was awesome. I love that we're exactly 50,000 right now.
Let's
Yeah,
see you at the end of
that's
the month,
halfway
Tyler.
there. And the way that Kickstarter tends to work, halfway there is more than halfway in that weird sort of Kickstarter way.
Especially so early. I mean, it's just so awesome to see you guys come out and support us like this, because like I don't know, it was a lot of pay. It was a lot of paid.
It's been like 50 hours. Just
about 50. Yeah,
It's
something
about 1k
close.
an hour. That's not too bad.
Well, and like it's really hard to describe what it's like to be working on something in isolation for a long time and hoping that someone will find value in it when you finally bring it out to everybody. And so it's been great to see the pickup and the enthusiasm about Midair coming from the community. And let me tell you what, like it's been awesome, completely awesome to be linked to articles on like PC Gamer or Kotaku when they come out, or different forums and stuff saying, hey, you guys should totally check this out. People are talking about your game here. And we run in there and the community is just evangelizing about this thing. Like it's awesome. Like it's good to see people sticking up for what we're doing, because there's a lot of criticism that comes out about some of this kind of stuff, and like you guys are handling it like champs. You're being respectful, you're answering people's questions, you're building confidence, and so please keep doing that. It's amazing. It's it's building people's confidence in what we're doing, and as a new indie team doing something like this, that confidence is absolutely critical for us to reach our goal.
I do have one small quibble with what you said. Which is that you say it's really hard to describe what it's like to just work in isolation. I don't think it's hard at all. It's terrible, Chris.
Well, here's a question about the game capping. How long does an average capping run take? Like going to the base, or starting at the base, getting the grab, and bringing it back?
Oh,
GP, how long does it take?
I was saying this in Twitch chat when I saw the question, right? It's like, if you come from TA, it's a bit of a shock at first, but you pick it up kind of fast because you're doing like full cap runs in less time than it takes to run like one route in TA, which is pretty crazy. It's
Unless you don't want to, you could totally, spend a minute and a half running around.
He tried.
JP tried for a little while.
I mean, I tried for like the first day or so, and then I realized, oh, hang on, you can just run like 10-second front routes and just be back home within like 25 seconds of starting your route, and it's great. I don't know, I really, really liked it coming in from TA. It's just, it felt super easy to pick up in comparison to like learning to ski in the first place in TA. The physics and stuff in general lend themselves to just naturally skiing. You don't have to learn to build up speed and run these massive long like autism memory routes that TA capping is kind of known for, Yeah. So no, I really like it.
I know Descolada is always trying to push the boundary on how quick he can go from base to flag. He's one of our testers. And I think just the other day he was coming up with stuff on Crossfire where he's like, oh yeah, I can grab the flag 10 seconds from cross verdant. Wow, that was bad. Yesterday. They're the same.
Yeah, he's saying 30 seconds in here.
I think Desco was grabbing like 10 seconds after spawn. And the nice thing about that is you're like, oh well, that sounds ridiculous, but that's like a front route, right? So when you run a front route like that, all those routes you sort of sacrifice your setup time for a route that's very chaseable. So there's these things. I know Boss Dog was running yesterday. He looped around really wide and verdant, and actually threw for a loop, and he came in really fast from the side. So he was taking a little longer setup and having one that was much harder to chase. So there's always those opportunity costs associated with running longer routes or shorter routes.
Yeah, there's multiple things you can do. Like I have like a 35-second back cap on verdant, but if I grab, I'm home, I'm gone. But there's a lot of options. Like I have this 10-second front grab that it's really chaseable, but it's good for, e-grabs and things like that. Like there's lots of variety in how you can cap. It's not like TA, which I felt was like rails. Like you had to do all this crazy stuff to just get any speed and get any type of momentum. Like there's lots of options you have here.
Blitz tried to bring back the front routes. They tried really hard. They worked for a few games. The front of blitzes, as they were known as.
On Crossfire of all maps.
And Dry Dock.
Oh my god.
Yeah, especially on LT maps like Midair. Like I have a front route that's 10 seconds and it just like is gone though. It's like an easy route and it feels fine though. It feels right. Like LT training has made me make like high volume routes. Like I could constantly run stuff quick and it works.
Well, there you go.
A question from Spin Fuxor, or I don't know if this is a family-friendly stream or not, so we'll say Spin Fusor. I know there will be vehicles, but is Havoc included in that list?
That's a good question.
Well, I think we talked about this before Kickstarter, and the answer is essentially yeah. Like what is equivalent of the Havoc will be in Midair. You will be able to pick up your group of heavies, your team, your squad, fly across the map, drop them off, and kind of destroy the enemy base as quickly as you'd like.
Okay, Solar Eagle wants to know a simple question: is there a melee?
So not right now. It's not super important to be honest. So if when we're ruthlessly triaging features or whatever, it's not it wasn't high on the list to make it in yet. But yeah, I mean, it's another button, which is
middle mouse, man, middle mouse.
Yeah,
middle mouse touches middle mouse.
It is, yeah, but it is another button.
Mabel, when you're talking about like it's another button, like what are you kind of referring to there?
Oh, sorry. It's another keybind that we need, and it's already getting kind of bleak. We're
Can you describe the keybind situation compared to the Tribes 2 multiple tax document full of
Oh, dude.
keybinds.
If any of you have ever loaded up T2 and you look at the keybinds, you just scroll down and down and down, and it just never stops. And we're
I think
not quite that bad yet, but it is not looking good.
I think in Tribes 2 I literally have I have to have like 3/4 of my keys bound just for like playing Tribes 2. Plus I have Shift, Control, and Alt modifiers for several of them. I mean, I have keys bound to semicolon in Tribes 2. I'm not even joking. It gets a little ridiculous, and I like some of the stuff in this is nicely. Mabel talks about getting bloated, but I know one of the things he's emphasized is like cutting down on some of that just obnoxious amount of key stuff. And a lot of those things don't need to exist with better UIs and things like that. You don't. I mean, T2 is an old game, so hopefully a lot of that stuff will be cut down and it becomes a lot more playable for people just jumping in.
Okay. And Gigabit, no, I'm not 5 minutes in the past. We're trying to get to everybody's questions here, and so yeah, I'm just a little behind on trying to make sure we get as many of these answered as we can. Boto1 way back wanted to know, implementing a website store or Steam Early Access only?
Website store or Steam. Oh, are you saying like can you buy it through the website or buy it through Steam? So the only way that you're gonna be able to get the game right now that we have planned is through Steam. We may like have a button or something on the website that takes you to Steam, but Steam is how we're distributing the game. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just less development work. I mean, honestly, there's no reason for us to implement that if we're already going to be using Steam. It's just a bunch of work for us. It's security sensitive work, so it's worse than normal. It's just like all bad. So.
Dr. Killinger from Hell Legit Games wants to know how balance between heavies and lights is going to work.
Excitingly.
In an exciting way. There you go.
So, Raj, you played...
the Tribes 2 Classic, where heavies and lights were extremely well balanced with each other.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is that, so they're using more of a classic Tribes 1, Tribes 2 inventory system where you suit up and spawn. I assume, maybe we can get to this later, that there might be maps where you suit up and spawn, or pseudo spawn where you like spawn next to an invincible inventory, so it's essentially the same thing. That could be like a map design decision, but for like most of the base maps, it's sort of like, you spawn in some naked armor, so you have no pack, you have like blaster, chain gun, ring launcher, you suit up, and then you go attack. And the nice part about this is that it lets you actually create more asymmetry between lights and heavies, because to suit up in heavy, you have to go into your base, you have to find a working inventory, you gotta suit up, you gotta leave your base, and then you could cross the map, right? And that takes a long time, so there's this opportunity cost just built in to being a heavy. So you get you can create like a bigger reward for that, and you can, if you want to stop heavies, you can also stop them by attacking the base. And that creates, I think that allows you to create heavies that are more asymmetrically different from lights, which means you can give them a boost a little bit in power. They're great at 1v1. You can make them like these really like semi-tank type things. And it does work out because they're so immobile that even if you don't directly engage them in a light, you can just move away from them, right? And that's what you're actually supposed to do in T2 Classic competition, right? That was one of the things you did. You don't just engage with them directly because they'll beat you in a 1v1, but you can double team them. You can sort of move away from them and just deal with the flag capper. You can sort of distract them so they can't do a timed clear properly. It opens up a lot of these interesting scenarios. That's not just, oh, he's a different thing that I 1v1 and see who wins and coin flip, you know. I think that makes the game ultimately more interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. How much health percentage does the railgun take out of a light on hit, and are there headshots that count for more?
Exactly 50, not right now.
Okay.
We're not totally totally like sold on headshots. I mean, there's good and bad things about them. It's hard because honestly, like anyone who I still struggle to believe anyone who tells you that they go for an individual headshot like will get it on that. Like,
In a game this fast, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, particularly with lights, that's the case. I don't really see it. I'm not the best sniper in the world, but I'm not bad. And I just never been able to sort of get any consistency out of it, and don't know how it feels about basically just adding in random crits at that point.
Yeah.
But you know, we're lucky at it because it does. There are useful parts about that in terms of being able to take down heavies and stuff.
Okay, here's one from Gigabit. What are plans for appealing to casuals? Because we know these types of games live and die by casual appeal. Now, of course, you know, on the Z-Axis podcast, we tend to talk a lot about the pro scene, the comp scene. But yeah, you kind of, I don't know, I was talking to some guys in a completely unrelated game the other day, and we were talking about how you really need a system underneath that, because not everybody is going to have the time to devote to scrims and practicing and the, you know, leagues and ladders and so forth, and they just want to be able to pop in for a couple of hours when they have time and have fun, you know, something like Rocket League and things like that. No thoughts on that? Bug Spray's got something on that.
Oh, sorry. I was
How do you appeal to
actually answering
casuals,
a question.
man?
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to Mabel on that one. Can you repeat the question?
Oh my God, no.
What are you guys doing to appeal to casuals?
What
The filthy casuals.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, obviously we brought in a bunch of testers who are very, very good. And like, if you watch yesterday's pickup games on stream, like it was pretty apparent that we've got really top tier talent playing Midair. As we go forward, and of course through this Kickstarter campaign, we're interested in bringing more and more casual players in. We're going to respond to their feedback. You know, I think base in general and like larger team sizes allow casuals to have a bit more fun than smaller team sizes with 5v5. Because if you think about it, with 5v5, if you've got one player who's not really pulling their weight, if you ever played League of Legends or Dota or something, like, you can feel this pain. You know, the team gets mad at them. They feel a lot more pressure. They can't just kind of explore the game on their own without taking away 20% of their team, right? So with larger team sizes, with base gameplay, it allows people to slowly get acclimated, because they can sit there and, you know, practice the one weapon for a while, learn how to do a ski route, and meanwhile they aren't a significant percentage of the team. The rest of the team can kind of carry their weight relatively easily. They can do tasks like, you know, deploying, which doesn't require a whole lot of, say, like Twitch skill or memorizing routes or things like that. And you know, which is also, you know, somewhat helpful to your team, right? If you're deploying in the right spots, at least you're theoretically, you know, maybe creating a zone around your base that is more difficult to get into, or zoning your flag or things like that. They can become, you know, pilots of vehicles, which are, you know, probably a little bit easier to control or even think about than, say, learning how to ski really, really fast and grab the flag or chase somebody. So those kind of roles allow noobs to get more kind of acclimated to the game, learn more, get better, and ultimately have more fun and stick with the game. So that's the way I see it.
So the variation of roles will help with that a lot. Yeah, I agree. A question about health and how it works. Will there be health nuggets that you pick up? Will there be health regeneration? Can I be a pocket medic and shoot you with my Healy gun?
And I answer this question a lot. So currently there's just no health regen. There's a repair pack. It's not very good at healing players. We honestly haven't looked at that too much. Maybe that's a thing we could explore at some point, but that's pending, you know. It's just pending, like, us testing it out. So we're probably never gonna have any kind of sort of free regen like TA, because it's just not. It's
hard. It's really hard to implement without it being totally broken.
Yeah, right. It's very hard to balance.
Imagine a heavy camping your base, and then you go in to retake it, you fail, and then you come back and he's full health again, and your
Yeah.
base is just down like the entire map because of that. Like it's just there's a lot of really complicated systems at work, and when you change something it's a big drastic change from the previous games. And if you do something like that, like tons of stuff has to be adjusted. It's like creating a whole new game basically.
One of the things, Mabel, I think you talked about before was the capper chaser dynamic, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, right. So what it does specifically to that situation is it makes it so that basically, right, because there's a difference. The dynamic between cappers that cappers have time. They have a lot of time to set up. They have control over their time, and chasers are sort of lower priority targets. There's more of them, and so they can expend more health than cappers can, and so what happens is if you have health regen that is based off waiting for, say, 15 seconds. If you have based off waiting 50 seconds to get your regen, then you sort of just get it while in the air. The capper effectively has like 2 times as much health, right? On a normal route, they'll have like 2 times as much health as a chaser will, which is a big problem for sort of trying to balance like disc jumps and stuff. It means that you get like 2 times as much impulse, whereas the chaser can basically only chase till you hit your flag stand, so there's no time to regen, especially if they take any chip damage from some dudes with chain guns or something. So because of that, we really don't want to use those specific mechanics because they just don't feel like they can be. They kind of break some things that we really like about the game. I mean, if you saw the games that we played on Midair, which I didn't get to play in, you'll see sort of like it works just fine with that. Like it's really good. It's really good.
I want to bring up one more thing too. Going back to the casual player question before, Alan on our team, who is our CFO, would like to let everyone know that he is a filthy casual and he enjoys the game. And can confirm Alan is a filthy casual.
Oh, dude.
Using his words, by the way. I did not, I'm not assaulting casuals or anything. This is what Alan said.
That's true. It's actually in the Slack channel right now.
Yes.
It's gonna be pro with that katana, though.
From Prometheum, what will be the role of long-distance mortar spam? How will it be different than T2? Any sort of waypoint system?
I answer part of this too.
Okay.
So different. I mean, like sort of fundamentally, you're just sort of sitting like out of bounds. Well, not out of bounds, but you're standing far away, like shooting grenades at stationary assets, right? Which is a useful thing to do, but not something you can add a super huge amount of variance in. It's kind of this same mechanic in all the games. It's nifty. The competitive players do in other games. They have basically scripts that give them angles to shoot at to like hit specific assets and stuff from certain like spam spots. And so what we're thinking, we thought about doing is sort of integrating like the target painter as something that you can use for yourself to mark targets, to give you basically angles that you can fire at, so you can stand sort of and spam without sort of needing to remember, like, okay, so if we look like 3 pixels to the left of like this cloud, like the second cloud, right? You can hit the flag stand if you just get the spot just right, or you line up the handle of the mortar with the top of this tree, and like that's the angle or something.
Sounds
right?
esports to me.
Yeah. Would
Seems
something
good,
like
doesn't
that apply to the tank-like vehicle too? Because I know there was some talk about making it where you can kind of drop anchor in one spot and kind of plant yourself with the tank and lob shots at people.
Oh, we've got plans. We've got plans.
Yeah, so it was just that was actually kind of an idea we were throwing around. We still have to prototype it, but we kind of like it, and that's the idea that this tank is this big beefy thing. If you ever played Tribes 2 or Tribes Ascend, I think Tribes Vengeance had a tank as well. It's like a big
The
it
jump,
had
machine,
the jump
right?
tank.
The tank in Tribes Vengeance was incredible.
The jump tank.
But yeah, like these things were like powerful things in the field, right? You saw a tank come out, you wanted to kill it, and completely destroy it, right? But what we were thinking is like, how are ways that we can kind of mix this thing up? And like, tanks are really great if they can do long range siege for a lot of people. Like if you look at like someone who's more casual playing tank games, they typically kind of like hang outside the kind of flag kill zone. They're trying to take down assets. They're trying to just cause general mayhem. And one of the ways we were thinking about, allowing players to do more of that artillery assault kind of thing, is by, planting down, extending the barrel a little bit, maybe giving them more range, maybe more power. Like we have to kind of figure out what the balance is on that, and then making the kind of cost like, well, you have to set up and take down. I think it was like all the StarCrafts have a tank that allows you to do that.
Tank, dude.
The siege tank, yeah. So like something like that might be kind of fun for players. It might be a little less useful for competitive modes because if you're a competitive player, that movement is kind of your greatest asset. So it's something we're thinking about. We're going to end up prototyping it, but I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, people will find a way, man. I mean, Blitz found a way to make the grav cycle viable in competitive play. So yeah, I have faith. Dragon's Milk asks if there is one zoom level or more than one level of zoom. I'm assuming
There's levels of zoom.
Okay.
Right now there's 3.
Yeah.
What is it, like 2, 5, and 10? I think it's the same as Tribes.
I honestly have no idea.
I think it's like that. It's like the same as Tribes right now. 2, 5, and 10, something like that.
I think it might be 15. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's multiple zoom levels. You can use it with whatever. We don't really. There's sort of no point in restricting it to be per weapon for us, since the only weapon that we could possibly want to restrict it on is the sniper rifle, which is usually the weapon that should canonically have these extra zoom levels. So it's not,
Well, the zoom levels are also important for spotting players and stuff.
Yo, right, that's true.
Yeah, we should probably at least mention because the people that are only familiar with Tribes Ascend only know the sort of the spotting system, and this is going back to, I think, at least currently, it's more like Tribes 1, Tribes 2, and how they function.
Yes, that's true.
There's no spotting.
Am I the only one who knows how it works?
Well, I could explain it. Well, probably not entirely 100% accurate, but the gist of it, which is probably just as important. I mean, it's basically, instead of like in Tribes Ascend, you look at a thing and you spam your spot key or whatever, and it's sort of almost like that, except automatically, and it's very similar. I think we actually went into a Tribes 2 server and tested it, how it functioned. You, based on your zoom level, your player functions sort of as a sensor. And so, like, if you're in your default zoom up to a certain distance, you have this, like a cone, basically, that extends from your player. And if they're caught in that cone, they'll get an IFF over them. And it should display out for the whole team if they're in your line of sight. And if you zoom in, it obviously narrows the width that you can see, but you can zoom in at farther targets and tag them with IFFs. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Yeah. You don't have to hit any extra binds or anything, but you do have to, you can't just, there's probably, if there isn't already, some systems in place, so you can't just spin around super fast at max zoom and just spot people across the map or something. But other than that, yeah.
It's the mechanic is it has like a max range, and what it essentially does is it has your sensor has an angular resolution. So if it is sort of very, like, you can sort of picture it like your monitor. So if you like zoom out, something might be like 2 pixels, and something will have to be like 4 pixels wide for it to register on your sensor. But if you zoom in, it starts taking up more and more, and so your sensor can detect it. It works basically like that. The plan is to have like some limits on acquisition time, and we also have limits on just hard limits on the range at which you can spot things, which things get marked for being on for IFFs for a particular sensor, like you, or sensors that you put out, or something else.
Okay, there is a cloaking mechanism, I understand. Does it render the
Sure.
player completely invisible?
No.
No, you can technically. Well,
Technically
actually,
being the key word.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like the Predator or whatever? If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Well,
I,
I don't know
I,
It's
about
kind of
that.
shimmery.
I assume right now the cloak is still a work in progress.
The cloak is a work in progress. Yeah,
It's
you
there,
could-
but yeah, it's kind of
yeah,
not
we need
balanced
to-
with everything else.
Yes, we need to work on sound levels and the level of sort of distortion that we have on that effect and other things. But you know, it's not totally invisible. I mean, that can be an issue. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, Arcadus wants to know if there's an IFF that lets you know where an enemy capper is, or is it like T1 with no happy flag?
Oh no, you can see the enemy when you're holding the flag. You're visible to everyone all the time, because that's how it is, and you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Okay, well, I guess people will. Now, I know that you guys are talking about having the community be able to do maps. Is that still something that is going to happen? And just out of curiosity, at release time, how many maps are you shooting for as far as including in the game? Just a rough ballpark.
Well, you can see it in the campaign.
Yeah, so in the campaign, if you go to the Kickstarter page, I will paste right now a link to the Kickstarter page.
Okay.
And you scroll down to the stretch goals, you'll see that we have a ton of great stretch goal options, and what you're referring to is the community map making system, and that is our $300 stretch goal, or $300,000 stretch goal. Now, when we talk about these stretch goals and doing community map making on release, those are very specific words we're using, and what that means is that we believe community map making is crucial for games like this, because a different map usually results in a very different gameplay experience, and so the game has more longevity. People who are creative types enjoy creating new experiences for players to play, and so we think it's really important, which means that we're going to try, even if we don't hit that stretch goal, to get that in after release. Can't make any guarantees on the when, because it depends on the number of resources we have and how the game's doing and that sort of thing. But our goal is to hit that 300,000 mark and then have that ready for you, available on release.
Okay, so map making is not off the table. Modding in general, I know it's a little more difficult with the way that these engines are structured now, just from our own experience. Like UE4, it's kind of hard to just say, here you go, mod it all you want to.
There is honestly no way we could provide that for people safely for them in any sort of practical way, really quickly. It's not there's just right, because UE4 runs on native code. I mean, this is a little bit technical, but it runs on native code, which means basically everything it executes runs on Win30. Has access to the Win32 APIs and sockets that could do anything. Right? This is terrible. This is absolutely not things that you want to be distributing to users. Most games that support modding give you some sort of access to a scripting sandbox, which has a scripting language that really only has access to some game APIs, to do things fiddle the UI, or fiddle damage numbers, or control how things respond. But there's really no division like that in the engine, which makes it very difficult for us to sort of even think about providing this to people in a safe way. And I mean, some of that's just most of those the decisions of that were out of our hands to begin with. So it's it sucks, but it's it's good. These kind of things, is sort of what it is. There's other questions about sort of its general compatibility with the model that we've chosen, but honestly, those are some of the biggest ones.
Okay, but as far as maps included, just a rough guesstimate.
Oh, right. It's like a 40-part question. My bad.
Yes. Well, you're doing fine, man. You're doing fine.
So I don't know if you even thought about that, to be honest.
I mean, we've already got 3 maps that have at least a decent amount or more amount of art in them that play fairly well. So, I mean, at least 3. We're clearly going to be working on a lot more. And of course, as we get more tile sets, those maps are going to be, looking better and better and more varied. So if you haven't checked out the stretch goals yet, there are a couple different stretch goal tiers that, when we hit those, we'll actually be adding more and more tile sets available for release. But if I had to kind of throw a number out there, and don't hold me to this, I'd probably say at least 10. I'd probably want to shoot for 15. I think it's a pretty solid number for a release of a first-person shooter nowadays.
Sure.
I mean, how many maps does Overwatch have? Anyone know?
I want to say like 10.
9
Honestly.
or 12.
Do they have
10 or 12, I think.
10 or 12?
Yeah,
I mean-
it's like 3 per game mode.
At least 2 of those are just horrendous.
Right, and people are going to take the shittiest map out of all those and run a 24/7 server of it anyway, right?
I mean,
So-
that is
Catabatic, baby.
no.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I
That
also-
is not the worst map that ships with T2.
Yeah. Oh, there is Dust to Dust and Recolescence and Thin Ice and all sorts of goodies with T2.
Green
That
Dance
is
isn't that bad.
not
Reckle-
even close.
Oh, Riverdance. Yeah, don't forget. I
Let's
mean, that
talk
wasn't
about Rain Dance
Riverdance
in
was.
T1,
Let's
people call that.
just say this: Riverdance
Was
was an
that no?
above-average Tribes 2 on release map. Take
Does-
that as you will.
Is Pandemonium a release map?
No, it wasn't. I will.
Well,
It was originally one
that
of the
would-
XX or X2 map packs, which I think was from Australia. I think originally. I want to say it was Australian originally. Actually, but at the same time, Tribes 2 had some cool maps like Damnation and Minotaur were both in the release, and those are 2 of the best maps in Tribes 2. So it wasn't all bad.
Well, and also something to think about, and what we are thinking about for sure on the team is like, well, we want to have enough variety for people who play the game in different ways. So we talked earlier about like casual versus really hardcore competitive, and even kind of in between, right? Where if you think about like super hardcore competitive, might be 5v5s, limited loadouts, that sort of thing. Pretty competitive might be like playing base mode, but with maybe 7s or 8s or something like that.
Okay.
And then
Pretty competitive.
pretty
This is
competitive.
offensive.
Well, I will not go further into what is competitive or not, but you kind of get the idea. Is like it's a little more difficult to field a team and that sort of thing. And then you hit like the 16v16, which is clearly a more casual kind of game mode. People there like to play more with vehicles, more with base assets, and so if you even have 3 maps available for each of those kind of players, then that's 9 maps already, right? So I think that's a pretty good baseline, is around that 10 mark. I'd like to have more to give even more variety, but I think that's a good kind of way to think about it.
They've already got 3 arted maps that they were mentioning. There's a ton of maps that people haven't seen. A lot of them are actually playable too. They're just very, they're very rough visually.
I mean, we saw
counted 10
part
off
of one
the
of
top
them
my
yesterday.
Yeah, the last one we played, Raidus. That one has, I think, untextured bases and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's very playable. And there's some other maps like that. So it's not just like 3. There's a whole ton that we've been testing. Some of them have been scrapped and or reworked. So, but yeah, there's quite a bit there.
And
They've seen some other maps too in the past, like at PAX. Yeah, PAX videos.
Have
They
they?
saw, some other. There's some
Oh,
other
that's true,
ones
that's
if you want to
true,
go
that's
back
true.
and look back at those. So I think I've counted like in my head like at least 10 I've tested or more, and some of those definitely just need to be scrapped though. But
Okay, springboarding off that a little bit, will people be able to run their own servers? So I don't know what kind of infrastructure you guys have in mind. If there'll be dedicated server software, if you guys are going to be working with companies that rent servers, or if it's going to be spun up through a cloud system.
Yeah, so we actually have a blog post about this. So if you haven't read it yet, definitely go and check it out. And Winters, I know you read it, and we're just talking about this in general, but like just for everyone else out there, like you guys should totally go read it, because we go into depth about that kind of stuff. But to kind of give you an answer now on stream, right now we have kind of 2 ways that we're thinking about people getting into games. One is through a matchmaking system, and that is sort of like a big play now button, right? You hit the play now, it drops you into a game. You don't need to think about going through a server browser or picking game types or anything like that. You just go play. The second is the ability to go into custom servers. And if you've played like a lot of modern games, many of them have this, and that is kind of your typical server browser where admins can set up their own servers and put their own name out there, control which games are played, which maps are played, player limits, those sorts of things, even things like maybe passwords or overflow, stuff like that. And so we want to have that experience because we do know that there are a lot of players, especially when we're reaching out to more casual players or players who have never heard of this game. We want them to be able to jump into a game as quickly as possible with matchmaking and get into the experience that is Midair. But we also want the people who really like to curate their experiences through servers and controlling that sort of environment, having admins. We want to allow them to build communities and friendships and teams and that sort of thing. So absolutely, we want to cater to both. Now, the specific technical question of whether or not we will have our own servers that we sell to you, or maybe you just spin up and then they're temporary, versus us giving you a server binary and you running it on a server host. Our current plan right now is to work with server partners, and so we want to give you a selection of things that you can then spin up. They've got all the stuff they need. You don't need to worry about administration on the back end, how do I get this executable to work? Am I using the right operating system? What about the bandwidth and all that kind of stuff? So we're trying to work with server partners. Right now we have a great one in brandzone.com. We're still working with him on ways to allow us to do that. But if you know Brandon from Brandzone, he's done a great job in supporting the FPS-Z genre for a long time. So he's a great partner. We're super excited to work with him. He's already hosting servers for us for our testers, and again, he's been a great partner. So
cool.
So
it'll be
that's sort of
another
our strategy.
internet success story.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically, it's basically that good.
But again, we're hoping to give you choice, right? We want to give you choice in location. We want you to get maybe choice in provider and that sort of thing. That way, you don't feel shoehorned into a couple servers that don't give you the kind of quality you want or the location you want. Also, by the way, I have someone who wants to say hi. I don't know if you can see in TeamSpeak here, but on webcam, I've got a kitty. His name's Mowgli from the Jungle Book. He is adorable, and he just decided to come say hi. And now he's biting me, and now he's running off. Okay. Bye, Mowgli.
Oh, yeah. Well, we promised dank memes, and we threw cats into the mix, so I think we're providing a fine bit of entertainment for all the folks here on the 48 Hours of Midair stream. Prometheum22, he's been providing a lot of really good questions here, and he's got another one. All things being equal, including skill, should a light with a spin fuser or a light with an automatic win in a duel? Do you think it should be equal? This is also a question that relates to movement. I think this is the eternal disc versus chain gun question here, guys.
I can
Bug spray mutes in frickin' TS3 right then.
Yeah, it's all you, man.
So I can tell you, in the combat right now, the chain versus disc balance is the best it's been in the game. So you look at T1, if you actually try to duel with a chain, it's not really that fun. Chain is just by far better than any of the other weapons. You can stay at mid distance and you're just spamming chain. You don't have to get in any distance to actually get hit by a grenade or disc. Even though it is best to use them all, but so much of it just evolves into chain where you can't go into the air, otherwise you get chained or stuck to the ground. But right now in this game, that's one of the reasons why people are seeing a lot of mid-airs. So the disc is a little faster in this game, but that's the balance, the combat, I feel like. So there's a lot of disc usage, way more than Tribes 2 in combat, even more than Tribes 1, unless you're playing disc only or something.
And a lot of that is just because the chain gun isn't so ridiculously overpowering like it was.
So
good.
What you're talking about.
I think it took 5 bullets in T1 to kill someone without a health pack, and then 7 with health pack. And then I think they ended up nerfing it to 6 to 8 eventually, but so 6 bullets will kill you, 8 with the health pack. In this game it takes 16 right now, 16 chain bullets to kill someone.
I mean,
the
rate
of
fire is
just a little
bigger,
quicker.
and there's less spread,
and the spread too, yeah. So you have to actually get longer strains of chain in a row to kill someone, which is cool. I like that.
It's still powerful, but
yeah,
I will say that when the duel, if you close gaps in duels or you're holding a specific position that somebody wants to move into, the ring is actually really strong. And in the duels I've been messing around with people, I use it as my primary weapon, and the chain gun only pops out in specific circumstances. So in that sense, it's pretty balanced. I'm looking forward. I think Mabel can comment if he's still adding a heat thing, which is like. Yeah, as soon as you drop in heat, that's great because it adds this whole different tuning knob that lets you adjust it, very custom adjust the balance for high-speed chasing and dueling at the same time, and you can get it into a real nice spot that feels good for both, presumably anyways. I mean, obviously that takes a lot of iteration, but I'm looking forward to that. But it's already pretty good, and like I said, I use it, me and many other people use the ring launcher right now as sort of their default primary weapon that they have out. When there's sort of waiting for stuff to happen or moving around.
Yeah, that gun is pretty good. I honestly, I think the weapon balance is clearly the best out of any of the games. Clearly, you know, that's like we try to keep making sure that you need to select the right weapons. Select the right weapons is, interesting enough to provide you with some sort of decision making, because I don't think, like, honestly, I think it's just sort of the wrong question. Like, oh, if you're using only one thing, like what was, like, I don't really care, because it sort of it depends, like, very heavily on initial conditions, right? If you start standing right next to each other, dude, the disc probably wins. If you start like far away, dude, the chain gun probably wins, right? Like, just because of where those weapons most effective engagement distance is.
Yeah, you could just backpedal all day with the chain up.
Yeah, if you're just winning, like dueling to win no matter what circumstances, you can just keep backpedaling with the chain gun and you'll win. But like, when is that ever gonna? You're conceding territory and ground when you do that, and it's almost never useful to actually do that in a real situation.
So in Legions, we saw the balance of the chain gun for chasing with the cooldown mechanic, the overheat and the cooldown mechanic, which Rod was touching upon. Is that something you think you might implement in Midair in terms of cooling down and going faster?
Yeah, so the plan right now is that mostly do this because of damage and time constraints. Like, there's stuff we have to do. It's got some networking implications because we lag comp like everything, which is great, but like terrible because it means we have to. Unreal have very great systems for us to sort of do that stuff automatically, so we end up writing a lot of that code manually because it's less work than writing the automatic system.
So what Mabel means is it's great for everyone except for him.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. But once we get that, then we'll be in a good place to actually add that mechanic. It's, a lot of things got sort of pushed back, so we could do all this stuff for y'all. Get some cool streams going with some cool gameplay. It's not, the balance isn't perfect. We still have to tweak the CG. It's probably still overpowering in duels, even though it's better than it was before. Jesus. Yeah. Well, you don't know about the old CG. So there's that.
Okay, let's bring in some salt from overseas here. Malur wants to know, can we get some European opinions on the chain gun, since it's well known Americans can't chain? Should we be watching Eurovision right now, man? I skipped Eurovision to do this.
This is a false statement, so we don't have to answer that question. Let's move on.
Oh, okay. JP, you want to weigh in on this?
I don't think it's strong enough right now. I think it needs to be buffed.
I think the chain gun needs to be buffed.
Because you can't hit anything.
This is getting testy here.
As the best chain gunner in the game, the chain gun is underpowered.
I actually think at some
there's
point,
a dank meme right there.
At some point during the Kickstarter, we should definitely have a Euro versus North American grudge match.
That wouldn't go very well.
I think it has to happen.
Barely even.
Right?
I think it's worth trying it just for how embarrassing it would be if you lose.
You could play on the European servers. It's not like it's going to change anything.
So I'm told that Mabel has actually bent space and time to make the physics work so that ping is irrelevant. Is that are you guys getting pretty good gameplay from overseas on the American servers?
I mean, it doesn't really feel like you're playing overseas. Like everything's lag comped so well that I don't really notice the difference when I'm playing on the German server or on the NA servers. So
cool.
Yeah, and
There's
I've
very minimal.
some of the Americans have played on the Frankfurt server that they have up, including myself on pickups, and yeah, it feels. I mean, there's always going to be little things you notice that are slightly different, but it's very playable. I don't feel like I'm gimped. It's certainly not like games without any lag comp where it's just like it's totally you have to play a position that can't deathmatch or you're worthless to your team type of thing.
I think the main difference is a visual, like some slight. Obviously, projectile spawn time is a little bit.
And sometimes
slower.
you get killed before you can react at
I
close
haven't
ranges.
noticed that.
Getting
much,
over,
to be
I
honest,
don't know.
but-
I noticed getting overwatched on the Frankfurt servers a lot. Like just had like shooting and having my projectiles like disappear because I got killed before I actually shot.
Yeah,
the
but some of
server.
those are sort of inevitable to
That's
sort
true.
of design. So like it's
Yeah,
not,
man.
you can't erase latency.
It's
It's
relativity,
not
right?
possible,
It's not-
but you can get it. I think it's in a position where it's very close. It's by far the best of any Tribes game. It's hands down the best right now. And you can play cross continent. West Coasters can play East Coast. East Coasters can play in Europe. I don't think West Coast can play in Europe very well. It bends it too far at that point, but you shouldn't have those issues. There's a lot of old Tribes 1, Tribes 2 matches that were decided because people were constantly fighting over which servers, the West Coast or East Coast servers to play on, and it totally changed
that's
how the
every
matches played.
game, dude. Yeah.
You
yeah.
say two, but we do that. I'm pretty sure we did that in TA. The year
Yeah.
before
Awful game,
2012.
all the
Oh yeah,
games
there's
are on
always
East.
the lawyering before every game. Yeah, it's like, well,
remember we played-
our ping is shit here. It's not fair.
Guys, and they cried about playing on West, even though we play on East all the time.
Oh yeah, that is
This
definitely
is some
true.
real
We played
classic.
East
You
like
did
90%
some
of the
classic
time.
skeletons right here.
This is some classic West Coast player talk.
LA represent.
Oh my god.
I think on one title we found that Cape Town, South Africa was the best geocentric location to
Okay.
have. So I don't know if Brand Zone has reach out there in South Africa, but it might be worth looking into.
We just need to
Yeah,
get a
contact
server
there.
into Sealand.
Yes.
They need those Mid-Atlantic Ridge servers. What's
I
going on
was
with
talking
that?
about this. There's islands out there. Who wants to start a business with me? We're putting some servers on this island, and we have perfect cross-region play. It's under 60 ping from London and New York. It sounds like a good idea to me.
But yeah, networking is an eternal struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the average gamer has no real concept of how difficult it is. It's a real balancing act, and there's only so much you can do without opening yourself up to lots of things that are highly exploitable and therefore really not viable to use.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, actually, we're going to go into depth about this kind of stuff today at, let's see, 11 p.m. Eastern. Mabel and I are going to jump on a stream, and we're going to talk in depth about physics and networking. So if you want to hear more about the technical details, that's a good chance to hear more and ask some questions.
And when is that, Chris?
When is that? Well, I just said it was 11 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, I'm really good at listening.
All
This
right.
is it.
So I wanted to bring up something I heard about a lot yesterday.
One thing. Quickly before we do that, one thing I'll mention is that currently, the code kind of just like throws up its hands and gives up if your ping is over 150-ish. We have a little bit of slip for jitter and extra latency added in by the game engine, but so my current plan is to sort of implement rewinding up to 250 milliseconds of ping for guns like the chain gun, because honestly, there's no way that you're dodging a chain gun ever. Right, so it's sort of just like the knowledge that it's being shot at me, and so I need to dodge it, right? Like, that's kind of what we can do.
You create, you move in patterns that make you less likely to get hit rather than dodging individual shots.
Yeah, right. So there's no real feasible way for you to dodge individual shots. So we don't consider it as strictly bounded. That's why we have such a... It's kind of a low limit compared to like the range of like feasible things you see, where you see like West Coast players playing against EU. Since we could pick servers, it's not like a huge deal. You can sort of just play in a central location. And it's like mostly all right for everyone, but it does generally give an advantage to the US players, which is whatever. Because of that, I think we can the plan is probably to lighten up those up to 250 MS, and then we sort of leave the projectile weapons of at 150, because you need time to be able to react. If you played, I mean, it's open now. If you played Overwatch, you might know what it's like to play a game where
against Roadhog hooks.
Oh, I mean, I'm just thinking like the Junkrat bombs, when they're just like nowhere near you. Dude's got like 250 pings from like Australia or something, and like you're just nowhere even close to it on your screen, and you just get hit by a projectile. It's very frustrating, because you're just used to be able to mostly react to those in video games. It's never been like very precise, but it's sort of better. It's better than nothing, and being hit by objects you can see bouncing around the world from way in the past is really upsetting a lot of the time. So we're sort of shying away from providing that. I think we'll probably at some point evaluate the quality once we get the infrastructure working for the chain guns and stuff, because it's the technology isn't really any different, but unsuspectable. Consider it like high enough quality to be acceptable.
So I wanted to bring up something I saw in the chat yesterday during the games. So they were talking a lot about this jitter, and if you want to talk about that at all, Maple, and your ideas for that lag capping, is it going to be solved in this game?
Oh,
what's going on with that?
The lag capping.
Lag capping, everybody's experienced it.
Well, I mean, the lag, it's not going to save you from the lag cap. So currently we actually do have plans to sort of solve things like jittering players. The jittering, particularly last night, I'm pretty sure that was actually just part of either part like GG's connection, like under load having delivery jitter, or a spectator bug. I'm not sure which. Because I honestly just haven't got around to testing, because I'm here with you guys right now. So we do have plans to sort of implement basically like a smoothing scheme for players, so where we can sort of see. Well, I'll talk more about the details later, I guess, because it's not super interesting to most people. But the plan is actually to basically smooth out players who have variable packet delivery times, and people who are lagging stuff, and sort of punish them more than we punish everyone else who's trying to shoot at them. Because honestly, it's just like when someone that, I'm not gonna name names, JP, but when someone's warping around, it can be a real chore to even be able to like hit them at all, let alone hit them with the consistency that you need to play the game. And that could be pretty advantageous if like a capper was on some horrible like rural UK internet. So
it's almost as if they might plan ahead of time to have a bad connection or mess with their connection. I don't know anybody in the history of Tribes.
Oh god,
I mean, that kind of behavior would just
perish the thought. Yes.
Tribes 2 cappers are known for being they're very much against cheating and lag capping. Yes, principled all the way.
Principled people.
I'm the only
You'll never see them warp 20 feet at the right moment as they're grabbing the flag and then be fine everywhere else.
So that's something I'm excited about. I want to bring up.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
mean,
be
this-
it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna...
This all just seems like learn to play issues on you guys' end. I don't know.
Well, I have some videos, JP. I'm pretty sure
Oh, dude, we have videos.
we have videos. Okay.
Well, we've almost hit the end of our show here. Almost, but not quite. Well, certainly not the end of programming here on the Play Midair stream. It's going to be going all afternoon and evening. In fact, I will be back later, 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe it is, to Cast with Guitar Guy, and you'll see a lot of these guys in action. See them quit working the mouth and start working the hands. You'll see some show match stuff, but there is programming in between up until that point and post that point. So, but we want to again thank everybody. The Kickstarter is now over 50%, and so that's it's a good run, and hopefully you guys can keep it going. Don't forget, it's just $20. I mean, that's less than what Bernie Sanders is asking for, and you get everything completely unlocked for that. So it's a bargain at any price. I think it's a project that's worthy of being backed, which is something you can't always say about Kickstarter, but we won't go there. I think this is a great thing for FPS-Z in general. If you love these sort of games, and obviously you do, or else you wouldn't be sitting here listening to us jacking our jaws for the last couple of hours. So we thank you for being part of it. I want to give everybody a chance to do final thoughts and shout outs before we get out of here. We'll work from bottom to the top of the team speak I'm looking at here. Qualm, anything you want to add to the proceedings, shout outs and so forth?
Yeah, no, just best of luck with your project. Really looking forward to it. Been, advertising for my 3 Twitter followers for you guys for months now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm expecting you guys to go real far with your stretch goals. So best of luck. Shout outs to all you guys. Keep doing keep on rocking in the free world.
Proj, it's always good to have your thoughts and insights on all this stuff. Anything you want to add to this before we get out of here?
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the devs for putting all the work in. I'm not doing any of the work that they're doing, and I can tell you it feels like they've been working overtime on 2 jobs. So I hope everyone shows their gratitude. It's obviously a lot of work, and a lot of them have day jobs on top of this too. It's really crazy. And of course, I really encourage everyone to check out the pickup games, the show match stuff, starting at 8 p.m. if they really want to see sort of raw, uncut footage of how the game plays, and they missed it yesterday. I encourage everyone to check that out.
Yeah, I will definitely be there. JP, how about you, man?
I'll just shout out all UK ISPs.
After Richard Branson and all the people who, the Virgin Internet. Fire?
Okay, so I'm a well-known paid shill for this game, so I'll just say
Is he ever?
I'll just say 175, guys, come get smoked. $175, that's all it takes.
Oh yeah, match
And
me.
if you really
there you
hate
go.
someone here, I know a lot of people seem to really hate Proj in the Tribes One community. $175 and you get a
I
chance.
don't.
You can
You
try.
can come.
Yeah,
try.
if you really just want to make him mad, you could really show
definitely
him
possible.
by throwing 175. So there, Proj, there you go. Neener. Dark Lord, how about you, man?
Nothing in particular. Yeah, come see the pickups. Maybe I'll actually play my real position this time
Well,
instead of LO.
well.
Actually,
One of the
I will be,
all-time
'cause we're
greats,
going to be missing Stork and others.
Yeah. Speaking of all-time greats, and Boss Dog, aka Fettuccine, how about you, man?
Hi, thanks for having me on. This is wonderful, and this game is great. And I usually don't say nice things about anything, so people should really support this. I really enjoy it, and I've been having fun playing it. And yeah.
What about Papa John's?
Oh yeah, Team Icarus, sponsored by Papa John's, will be competing in Midair, so that's an announcement for everyone.
Yes, Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
iPad giveaway.
Yeah, free iPad. Yeah, be
Free
entered
iPad.
once
Guys.
tonight for a chance to win a free
For a
iPad.
Zoom giveaway coming.
Stealth RG, he's been very stealthy. I think his microphone is broken, so if you can't speak, you're on the cam. You can just wave. And
I think
Perpetual
I'm working.
state of
I hope
brokenness.
I'm working. I just want to thank everybody, and yeah, I love you guys.
we love you too, man. Mabel.
I mean, just thanks for being out here and supporting us. It's really awesome to just finally see this.
Thank you, man,
by
because
the
making games is hard, man, and I know you're putting in a lot of work for this. So
Yeah, no, it's difficult.
And Bugs, unless Mabel had more to say. Usually he doesn't. This is
this is basically
more
the most,
verbose.
basically the most that's ever happened in the post podcast shout outs. So I think we'll wrap the.
Well, yeah, echoing the thanks from Mabel. Like, it's been great to see everyone come out and support. Like, the way you guys have been going out and telling people about the game has been awesome. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Post to Facebook, post to Twitter, hit up your friends, call them up, call your parents up on the phone, call your grandparents up on the phone, and get them to back the project. It's super, super helpful for us. The more stretch goals we hit, the more cool stuff we get to do for you guys. And one thing I wanted to call out in particular is I noticed that we actually earned a backer achievement today. We hit 500 backers, which is awesome. The more of those you unlock, the more rewards you'll actually get. So if you scroll to the backer achievement section of the Kickstarter page, you'll see our achievements list. You'll see what kind of levels we need to hit in order to get cool stuff. And if you notice that there are little white rings for each level.
Robot.
Oh yeah, there is a stretch goal of the mech, which is also pretty important. But if you go to the achievement section,
Very important.
you'll see little blue rings around some of these levels that actually have extra rewards in them. So you can unlock achievements in general to get kind of, as you unlock 5 achievements or 10 achievements, you'll get rewards. But also there are some of those hidden ones. So definitely take a look. I want to call out a few of them. Like some of these things are like liking the Play Midair Facebook. It's getting more and more backers. It's getting YouTube subscribers. Twitter followers. So if you're kind of on the fence about backing or want maybe a low effort way of supporting us, or if you've already backed and want to keep on pushing and pushing, do some of this stuff. It's going to help us out. It's going to help us get the word out. When you subscribe to these things, you're not going to get a bunch of spam. You're going to get some high quality content, us telling you about where the game is going, when there are Twitch streams, that sort of thing. And then there are actually a few fun ones on there. I don't know if you've seen that, but one of them is post 10 selfies with Chibi Allen. This is super easy for you guys to do. Hop on Twitter, hop on Facebook, post these images of Chibi Allen. I'm going to post a link to it in Twitch so you know what Chibi Allen is. It's pretty awesome. Or I guess we're calling it Chibi Alpha now. It's a cute little adorable picture of our CFO, and so if you can post a picture, print him out, post a little picture of you taking a selfie with him. When we get 10 of those, you'll unlock an achievement. If you can create 2 real-life recreations of Midair technology, and it can be as accurate or as silly as you want. Post a video, post pictures, tell us about it. Also, if you can create 10 photoshops of stuff in Midair in real life, then you'll also unlock an achievement there as well. Would also like to call out that we have 3 mystery achievements. And what I can say is that if you unlock the 5 achievements unlocked, you will start to learn more about those. So you should definitely take a look at those achievements. There hasn't been a lot of action around that yet, so please push for those. There's some really cool stuff that we want to show you.
Awesome, man. Well, great all-star panel. Great show. I want to thank everybody for getting involved, and thanks to everybody who showed up in the chat and asked really good questions, and thanks to everybody who is supporting the project, and keep those cards and letters and PayPal monies coming. There's plenty more to come from this team. So from all of us, I'm Winners with the One, from Hella Legit Games, makers of #Wrecked, Dawn of Beginnings, the hot new arena shooter that everybody's talking about. And we will see you next time on the Z-Axis. Thanks, everybody. Good afternoon and good night.